I'm invited here to talk about how ADP is using Databricks as part of our generative AI initiatives. And so let's get down to business. First of all, maybe a quick overview about what is ADP, who we are. Maybe you've seen us in your paycheck in some of the jobs that you have now or in the past. And so just to give you an idea, right, we are a company that provides solutions that support the world of work, across the board. We do human resources, HR, benefits, talent, payroll, and time management. And if you look at the numbers, right, 1 out of 6 of the workers in the US are currently employed by a company that uses ADP as their system. We have over 1 million clients, so pretty large scale. We are in 140 countries with over 41 million global workers that are paid through our platform. And we're the #1 HCM application. HCM stands for Human Capital Management. So you can imagine that, when you work with ADP, you're working with a pretty amazing trove of data in a very unique space. And because of that, the challenges associated to that, we've been partnering deeply with Databricks, and super excited to be here to talk about that. So what are we up to at ADP when it comes to generative AI? I'm going to give you a sense of that, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the challenges and how our partnership with Databricks is helping surpass those challenges. But first of all, what is it that we're doing at ADP with Gen AI? And here's like one of our main topics. We're building something called the ADP Assist. So ADP Assist, like many of the tools that are out there, is a tool that allows our platforms to be more interactive and user-friendly to our people, right? So we want to, one of our guiding principles is what we call this pyramid. And the pyramid, it goes by easy, smart, and human. So we want our products as a baseline to be easy to use. But not only we want them to be easy to use, we want them to be smart. But not just want them to be smart, we strive for them to have this feeling of being human. And I believe that with generative AI today, we're definitely moving in that direction. Of course, we haven't made it human yet, but it's getting there, right? And so what are we stand for in terms of ADP Assist? Well, we have, as we mentioned, the largest and deepest data sets in human capital management, with over 1 million companies that are clients that are using our software globally. We want to talk about make payroll easy. Hey, how can we make payroll easy to our clients? How can we make analytics smarter? How can we give human insights to companies that use our software? How do we help them search by intent? All these while remaining secure, ethical, and responsible, right? So this is kind of the challenge that we're facing, and I'll tell you a little bit more detail around that. So when you think about the biggest challenges across the board, again, from going from smart into human, right, and easy in the way, what we see is that we have these 4 areas that are kind of stand out. How to achieve quality, huge problem. How to protect IP. How do we access and structure data, and how do we control the cost to achieve ROI? These are like 4 topic areas that we are discussing across the board. So for instance, what does it mean to achieve quality? We have really important products, right, that are revolving around payroll, for instance. We need to make sure that the answers that we get are high quality. If we're going to advise someone what to do about their payroll, what to do about their taxes, how do we make sure that we advise the right answers? And unfortunately, we've seen in the media recently, right, that some companies are putting tools like generative AI tools out there that are having challenges and difficulties, and they're making the news for the wrong reason, right? These tools, as we all know, tend to hallucinate, tend to produce answers. If you don't really have the right guardrails in place, they tend to say things that aren't quite true. And so when it comes to quality, it is a huge area of concern for us to make sure that our products remain of a high quality. Now, in terms of IP, we want to protect our clients' rights in their data, and we want to, we want to protect the IP of our clients, but this is a huge topic, right? So when you are someone that uses a platform, that has generative AI in it, you can understand that some of the data you may want this, right, to be exposed to this AI, but then the question is, how do you make sure that there's no IP issues in the mix? Similarly, when we have to use systems and build systems to access unstructured data. So as you all may be familiar with, right, many of the systems that we're building are doing what's called RAG, retrieval augmented generation. I'll talk a little bit more about the strategy and the tools that we're using, but in the retrieval augmented generation space, we are basically retrieving content that is not structured, right, for use of this technology. So how do you access unstructured data? This is really important because you need to format the data. How do you create the right type of data sets? How do you structure the data in a way that is accessible from the LLMs and you can produce quality results? And finally, like, how do you control cost? Think about, among the solutions that are out there, there's plenty of differences, right? Not all LLMs, not all generative AI is created equal, and there's a huge cost range there. So how do we control cost, right? That's one of the topics that really becomes one of the challenges that bring to the table and the conversation with Databricks. Now, when you look at ADP and our data strategy, let's talk a little bit about what we're trying to achieve. This is something that we're kind of currently still sort of working on this, right? But at a high level, we're interested in doing four things with our data products. One, we want to elevate brand with thought leadership. So we want to make sure that our partners and our clients, right, feel that they are using the latest and greatest and safest technology when they work with ADP, and that's something that we're really can stand behind and be proud of. We want to improve our business operation, like kind of more practical things, right? We want to drive efficiencies. Hey, how do we improve sales and marketing and customer support? And many of you are already in the Gen AI journey, talking about like perhaps service centers and support centers. How do you make those more efficient? I think that you've probably have seen or at least tested some generative AI solutions that really make your service centers more efficient. Reimagine product. This is kind of an area that's dear to my heart. Our products, of course, can be infused with generative AI. And how do we ultimately make our clients, our customers happy, right? How do we make them happy? Because we want them to be able to use our products in a better way. Finally, we have another area, part of the data strategy, which is to commercialize our data. And this is an area that's also very interesting for us, because as we collect, or as our systems really are used by a large chunk of the workforce in the US and throughout the world, there is a footprint that they leave regarding the data. Of course, this is all anonymized and aggregated, right? But we can get a lot of insights out of the data that goes through our systems regarding aggregations of this data that talk about the world of work. And so this has tremendous value for companies. And so we're imagining that, hey, when we talk about data and AI, these are the four things that we want to achieve. We want to elevate our brand through thought leadership. We want to improve our business operations. We want to reimagine product, and we want to commercialize our data. These are like the four main pillars of our strategy around data and AI. Now, in order to achieve those strategies, we're building two foundational items. One is called the One AI, which is our central AI platform. And the other one is our One Data, which is called our central data platform. Now, you can imagine that, of course, One AI is built on top of One Data. And these are two tools that are going to allow us to reach our potential and fulfill our strategy. So we've been partnering with Databricks and others in the space to build these components and these pieces of this One Data and One AI platform. Now, I can say that, for instance, tools like Delta Lake are broadly used in One Data. And of course, there's a governance piece tied to this, which has to do with catalog, the Unity catalog, which helps us with other areas like observability and like all the areas that have to do with governance. Myself and my team, the core AI team, are kind of building this One AI platform today. We are tasked with basically doing that, as well as building a center of excellence that's gonna, that is already working with many of our business units, but we're going to scale that right across the operation. But what we're scaling is basically we're scaling a partnership with business units, and we bring along this One AI platform. And what is this One AI platform? The One AI platform has many components. Many of those are tied to Databricks capabilities like model serving, LMOps, vector search, and so on and so forth. Right? That what you're seeing here. Of course, this is a range of tools that cover other technology firms as well. But in Databricks, we find an excellent partner to develop these areas. And so with that said, I'll continue to how Databricks is supporting our platform these days. You can imagine that Databricks has a ton of use cases there, and particularly we're building upon our experience around One Data to build upon that and to expand, right? So we're looking to achieving the highest quality, and then, for instance, we're working with the Mosaic team to talk about like how do you achieve quality and how do you measure quality. And we're working also POCs in RAG Studio today to make sure that we're using that capability that makes it quite easy to scale. Once you have something like the Databricks platform, I mean, one of the pain points, right, in the enterprise around these platforms is like the permissioning piece and whatnot. So if you figure out a platform that allows you to sort of have all this under wraps, then scaling it makes it much easier. Control. Again, we're looking at Mosaic tool to fine-tune some models, and also to fine-tune maybe open source models in-house. Again, we're sort of just getting started with that, but it'll be remiss not to mention that. The governance piece, of course, is in top of mind to most of our clients and the leadership, right? Hey, you're scaling generative AI across the organization. How do you make sure that everything is governed and that you don't have like rogue teams building their own thing and that it's very difficult to rein in? So Unity Catalog, for instance, provides with a very good solution for that around like vector indexes and whatnot. Again, I think that the space is evolving quickly, and we're really trying to wrap our head around all these parts. But we see that the capabilities by Databricks are quite substantial. Last but not least has to do with controlling cost, and as you can see that cost becomes a huge issue. Like a year ago when we got started with generative AI, I remember having meetings about like, hey, are we going to talk about cost? And I think at that time, most of our executives were like interested in proving out that these capabilities can perform as expected. There's a lot of expectations in the market, like, hey, generative AI is really going to revolutionize the space. How do we make sure that is it really doable? Is it possible? It turns out that yes, we can do a lot with generative AI, and but when we get the bills for generative AI, people take a deep breath and say like, hey, how can we now cost contain? So I think that the natural progression here is that first there's all this enthusiasm around generative AI and all this POC world. Like we spent most of last year building POCs around generative AI, and now we're thinking, okay, great, this works. Now let's just make it viable, right? So make it viable means cost controlling, and so tools like spinning smaller models, more fine-tuned models, in-house hosted models are going to be the way to go in many of these cases where you're trying to move away from like sort of the off-the-shelf models that you pay per token at a really high rate. And so look, I think we're coming up on time, and I really appreciate the opportunity here to talk. I just want to show you that throw away my contact info. My name is Fernando Schwartz. I'm VP of AI at ADP, head of the core AI team. And the space is really evolving quickly. We have pretty interesting job opportunities out there. So if you're interested, please feel free to reach out. There's my email address right there, and my LinkedIn. I'm always posting sort of job openings in the LinkedIn. So if you want to connect or follow or whatever, I'll be happy to loop you guys in. Well, once again, thanks Databricks team for the invitation to talk here.